Jessica Mulroney, the woman who once knew Meghan Markle's deepest secrets, the woman who was practically her shadow during those heady days in Toronto and the early royal years, has reportedly been offered a staggering $1 million to write a tell-all memoir about the Duchess of Sussex, and the panic in Montecito right now must be palpable. It is the news we have been waiting for, the shoe that was bound to drop eventually, and it comes at a time when the Sussex brand is already looking more fragile than ever. Welcome back, everyone. We have a lot to get through today, because the walls seem to be closing in on the narrative that has been carefully curated for years, and the one person who could bring the whole house of cards down is contemplating a 7-figure paycheck to do exactly that. Let's be honest about what is happening here. For years, we have watched people from Meghan's past pop up here and there, her father, her half-sister, old friends from school. But none of them held the keys to the castle quite like Jessica Mulroney. This wasn't just a friend, this was the best friend. This was the woman who styled her, who advised her, who allegedly helped curate the entire image that captured a prince. If reports from yesterday, February 9th, are to be believed, publishing houses are in a bidding war, throwing serious money at Jessica to break her silence. And why wouldn't they? We are talking about the period of time that remains the most mysterious and the most controversial, the yacht years, the Soho House days, and the exact timeline of how Harry was really courted. You have to remember the dynamic here to understand why this is Meghan's worst nightmare. Jessica was there before the fame hit the stratosphere. She was the one Meghan called when the relationship with Harry went public. She was the one dealing with the press, the clothes, and the secrets when Meghan was living in Toronto. They were inseparable. Jessica's children were page boys and a flower girl at the wedding. That is how deep this bond went. And then, in the blink of an eye, she was discarded. We all remember how it happened. Jessica got involved in a social media spat regarding white privilege, a mistake certainly, but one that a loyal best friend helps you through. Instead, Meghan used it as the perfect excuse to cut the cord. It was cold, it was calculated, and it was the moment many people realized that friendship for the Duchess is a transactional affair. Once you are no longer useful, or once you become a liability, you are out. But here is the thing about discarding people who know where the bodies are buried. Eventually, they might stop protecting you. For years, Jessica has been relatively quiet. She has posted cryptic quotes on Instagram. She has made subtle nods to resilience, but she has never outright spoken about what really happened between her and Meghan. That silence has likely been the only thing allowing Meghan to sleep at night. But $1 million changes things. $1 million, and perhaps the desire to clear her own name and reclaim her own narrative, is a powerful motivator. Think about what Jessica knows. She doesn't just know about the arguments with Kate Middleton or who made who cry over flower girl dresses, though she definitely knows the truth about that. She knows the layout of the early relationship with Harry. There have always been whispers that the blind date story was a fabrication, a sweet little fairy tale covering up a much more orchestrated meeting. Jessica was the conduit. She knows who was really pulling the strings. She knows about the trips, the parties, and the connections. There is a reason the Markle debacle has always felt like a puzzle with missing pieces, and Jessica is holding most of them. The timing of this offer is also incredibly interesting given the other stories swirling around right now. We are seeing a resurgence of interest in Meghan's past, specifically the years leading up to 2016. There is a reason the palace buried the bullion report. There is a reason staff members signed non-disclosure agreements. But Jessica, she didn't sign a distinct NDA regarding her personal friendship. She is a private citizen who was treated poorly by a powerful friend, and that makes her a loose cannon. The industry insiders saying this book would be a bestseller before it's even written are absolutely right. People are tired of the curated Netflix documentaries and the sanitized podcasts. They want the truth. They want to know what Meghan was saying about the royal family before she even joined it. Did she really not know who Prince Andrew was? Did she really not Google Harry? Jessica knows the answer to every single one of those questions. We also have to consider the psychological toll this must be taking on Meghan. Control is everything to her. We have seen it time and time again, the need to control the narrative, the photos, the interviews. Having a wild card like Jessica Mulroney out there with a contract on the table strips that control away completely. It is one thing to sue a newspaper. It is another thing entirely to silence a former best friend who has receipts. And make no mistake, Jessica Mulroney strikes me as the type of woman who kept the receipts. Text messages, emails, photos that never made it to Instagram. It is all potential material for this book. There is also the matter of the Soho House era. This is something that has been speculated about in dark corners of the internet for years, but mainstream media rarely touches it. Jessica was a fixture in that Toronto social scene alongside Meghan and Marcus Anderson. If there is any truth to the rumors about how that social circle operated, about the connections to wealthy men and the networking that went on, Jessica was an eyewitness. She saw how Meghan navigated those rooms. She saw who Meghan was targeting before Harry came along. There is a sense that Meghan reinvented herself entirely to fit the royal mold, erasing the girl-about-town persona she had cultivated in Toronto. A memoir from Jessica would shatter that reinvention. It would show us the raw, unfiltered version of Meghan before the royal polish was applied. And let's not forget, loyalty works two ways. Jessica stood by Meghan when the press was tearing her apart in the beginning. She was the bad cop to Meghan's good cop. She took a lot of heat for her friend. To be cast aside so publicly must have left a wound that hasn't healed. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and a publishing deal 6 years later is about as cold as it gets. The audience for this book wouldn't just be royalists or critics. It would be anyone who has ever had a friend turn on them. It's a universal story of betrayal, just played out on a global stage with tiaras and private jets. Furthermore, we need to talk about the bullying narrative. Jessica was around during the period when Meghan was allegedly terrorizing staff at Kensington Palace. In fact, Jessica was often reported to be on the phone with Meghan constantly during those days, guiding her, supporting her. Did Jessica witness the behavior? Did she encourage it, or did she try to stop it? Or perhaps more interestingly, did she see Meghan playing the victim while simultaneously being the aggressor? Jessica's perspective on the palace staff allegations would be definitive. She was the outsider on the inside. She saw how the staff tried to accommodate Meghan and how Meghan responded. If Jessica writes that Meghan was indeed difficult, demanding, and abrasive, it validates every single report that came out of the palace, completely undermining Meghan's claims of being unsupported and victimized. Now, why is this resurfacing right now, specifically around February 9th and 10th of 2026? It feels like the tide is turning. For a long time, people were afraid to speak out against the Sussexes for fear of being labeled. But that shield is cracking. The commercial failures, the Spotify cancellation, the mockery in Hollywood, it has all chipped away at the armor. Jessica likely sees that the public is ready to hear the other side. The Saint Meghan image has dissolved, leaving room for a more complex and likely more accurate portrait of a woman who was determined to climb the ladder at any cost. But there is something even darker lurking in the background of this story, something that makes the timing of this book deal even more explosive. While we focus on the broken friendship, the internet has been ablaze in the last 24 hours with something far more damaging than a stylist's scorn. We are talking about the rumors that simply will not die, the rumors linking Meghan to a much more sinister circle of people. Just as news of Jessica's potential book broke, another story began trending. One that digs up a past Meghan has tried very hard to bury. We are seeing old photographs resurface, specifically from around 2016, that paint a very different picture of Meghan's life just before she met Harry. You see, Jessica Mulroney knows the timeline. She knows where Meghan was in the summer of 2016. She knows who she was vacationing with. And that is why this book isn't just about bridesmaid dresses or friendship bracelets. It is potentially about alibis. It is about confirming or denying the company Meghan was keeping. There is a photo circulating right now, maybe you have seen it on X or in the forums, that claims to show Meghan on a yacht. Now, we see celebrities on yachts all the time. That's not the story. The story is who else is allegedly on that yacht and the dark cloud that hangs over those specific associates. If Jessica Mulroney decides to take that $1 million, she isn't just airing dirty laundry. She is opening a vault that leads directly to the questions everyone has been afraid to ask. Was Meghan just an actress looking for a break, or was she moving in circles that are now synonymous with scandal? The yacht girl label has been thrown around as an insult for years, but what if there is context to it that Jessica can provide? What if the networking went deeper than just securing a role on a TV show? This brings us to the most radioactive part of the gossip currently setting the internet on fire. It is not just about a bitter ex-best friend anymore. It is about the company one keeps. Yesterday, a specific image started making the rounds again, causing a meltdown in the Sussex camp. It ties into the Epstein whispers that have plagued Prince Andrew, but have often left Meghan unscathed until now. If Jessica speaks, she validates the timeline. She confirms where Meghan was and who she was with. And that is the leverage that is likely keeping Meghan awake at night. The threat of this memoir is the threat of context. Meghan relies on vague platitudes and her truth. Jessica deals in dates, locations, and real conversations. And as we look at this new wave of allegations concerning yachting and high-profile connections, we have to wonder, is Jessica the only one who knows the full story? Or is she just the first one brave enough or angry enough to sell it? As we move deeper into this, we need to look at exactly what is surfacing on social media right now, because the pictures and the names being mentioned are shocking. The timing of the yacht photo leak coinciding with the book offer feels almost too perfect, doesn't it? It's a 1-2 punch. On one side, you have the personal betrayal from the best friend. On the other, you have the photographic evidence, however disputed, of a past life that doesn't fit the Duchess narrative. We need to dissect this yacht rumor because it is the elephant in the room that the mainstream media is terrified to touch. But we are going to look at it closely, because if Jessica writes this book, she won't be able to ignore the summer of 2016, and neither can we. So let's talk about the picture that has everyone losing their minds right now. Just yesterday, February 9th, a photo started making the rounds on X that has completely reignited the yacht girl theory. It is grainy, sure, but the internet sleuths are already dissecting it pixel by pixel, and what they are finding is making the Sussex camp very, very nervous. The image allegedly dates back to August 2016, right around the time Meghan met Harry, or perhaps just before things got serious. It shows a group of women on a luxury yacht, the kind where the champagne flows freely and the privacy is guaranteed. In the center, there is a woman in a wide-brimmed hat and oversized sunglasses. We have seen that look 1,000 times on Meghan. It is her signature incognito disguise. But it is who she is reportedly sitting next to. That is the real bombshell. The woman next to her has been identified by multiple online sources as Karina Shuliak. For those who don't follow the deep dive investigations, Karina Shuliak was Jeffrey Epstein's last girlfriend, the woman who was with him right up until the end. And where there is Shuliak, the shadow of Ghislaine Maxwell is never far behind. While Maxwell isn't clearly visible in this specific shot, the implication is heavy. It suggests a social circle that is miles away from the humanitarian feminist image Meghan tries so desperately to project. If this photo is authentic, and let's face it, the internet detectives are rarely wrong about these things, it places Meghan directly in the orbit of one of the most notorious sex trafficking rings in history. Not as a victim necessarily, but as a participant in the lifestyle. This is why the yacht girl label stings so much. It is not just about being on a boat, it is a euphemism. In Hollywood and high society circles, yachting often refers to aspiring actresses or models who are paid to provide atmosphere for wealthy, powerful men on their private vessels. It is a world of networking, yes, but a very specific kind of networking. For years, there have been blind items and whispers that Meghan was a familiar face on the yachting circuit in the Mediterranean and the Caribbean before she secured her prince. The narrative is that she was hunting for a wealthy British husband, and these yachts were the hunting grounds. This photo, if it is indeed her, is the first piece of visual evidence that links her to that specific crowd during that specific summer. Now, consider the timing. This is 2016. She is starring in Suits. She is hustling for her big break. She is traveling constantly. Her blog, The Tig, is documenting a life of luxury travel that seems slightly out of reach for a cable TV actress's salary. Who was funding those trips? Who was hosting her? This is where the silence is deafening, and this is where the rumors about the Epstein files come into play. We have all heard the theories about Doe 183 and the unsealed court documents. There has been intense speculation that Meghan's name appears in those files, perhaps not as a co-conspirator, but as someone who was present, someone who was available. The fact that Prince Andrew was brought down by his association with Epstein, while Meghan has managed to skate by without a single question from mainstream media, is a double standard that infuriates people. But if photos like this continue to surface, that immunity might be coming to an end. This brings us right back to Jessica Mulroney. Why is she so dangerous in this context? Because Jessica was there. In the summer of 2016, Jessica and Meghan were joined at the hip. If Meghan was on a yacht with Epstein's circle, Jessica likely knows about it. She might have even been invited, or she was the one on the other end of the phone hearing all about the interesting people Meghan was meeting. If Jessica writes this memoir, she can clarify the timeline once and for all. She can tell us if Meghan was truly doing humanitarian work in Rwanda, or if she was rubbing elbows with Ghislaine Maxwell in the south of France. Jessica holds the alibi. If she refuses to vouch for Meghan's whereabouts during those critical weeks, the yacht girl rumors go from conspiracy theory to probable fact. It is absolutely fascinating to watch the panic unfold. You can see it in the way the Sussex PR team operates. Whenever these rumors spike, like they did yesterday with this photo gaining thousands of likes and reposts, we suddenly see a flurry of distraction stories. Meghan is working on a new podcast, or Harry is planning a trip to Africa. It is a classic deflection tactic. They are terrified that the general public will start asking the hard questions. How did a B-list actress really get into these elite circles so quickly? The social climber tag is one thing, but an association with the Epstein-Maxwell orbit is a career ender. It is radioactive. And speaking of career enders, we have to look at what is happening with Meghan's current ventures, because the contrast is stark. While she is fighting off these ghosts from the past, her present is crumbling. We need to talk about the absolute disaster that is her lifestyle brand. Remember the big launch, the glossy Instagram video, the promise of luxury jams and home goods? It has been months, and what do we have? Nothing. Reports are coming in that the brand is effectively dead in the water. No CEO, no product line, no trademark approval. It is a humiliation. She wanted to be the next Martha Stewart, the next Gwyneth Paltrow, but those women have something Meghan lacks: authenticity and work ethic. You cannot build a lifestyle empire on a foundation of grievance and victimhood. The failure of this brand is just another hit to her credibility. It shows that without the royal family propping her up, without the machinations of people like Jessica Mulroney behind the scenes, she cannot execute a business plan. She has the fame, sure, but she doesn't have the respect. And now, with the potential of this tell-all book, she is at risk of losing the little bit of mystery she has left. The brand failure is relevant because it makes her vulnerable. If she were riding high, making millions from her orchard products, maybe a book from an ex-friend wouldn't matter so much. She could laugh it off. But she is broke, relatively speaking, and desperate for a win. Her Hollywood friends have drifted away. The A-listers aren't inviting her to the Oscars. She is isolated. And an isolated person is much more susceptible to the damage a memoir can do. Jessica Mulroney knows this. She knows that kicking Meghan now while she is down will hurt the most. It is the ultimate revenge for being discarded. Let's go deeper into the psychology of this yacht photo leak. Why now? Why, on the same day we hear about Jessica's book offer, does this photo appear? In the world of PR and celebrity warfare, there are no coincidences. It feels like a warning shot. It feels like someone is saying, "We have the photos, we have the proof, don't push us." Is it coming from Jessica's camp? Is it coming from the palace, quietly releasing information to keep Meghan in check? Or is it simply the internet doing what it does best, digging up the truth that was meant to stay buried? The woman in the photo, the one suspected to be Meghan, has that distinct body language we have come to recognize. The way she sits, the way she holds herself. Even with the hat and glasses, it feels familiar, and the company she is keeping in that shot is undeniable. Karina Shuliak is not a random tourist. She is a specific figure with a specific history. Associating with her implies a level of access to the Epstein network that is deeply troubling. If Meghan was just a yacht girl looking for a rich husband, that's one thing. It's distasteful to some, but it's not a crime. But if she was in the inner circle of Maxwell and Epstein, that is a scandal that could rock the monarchy by association. Harry married her. The king's daughter-in-law potentially partying with the world's most infamous traffickers. That is a headline the palace will do anything to avoid. This is why the silence from Buckingham Palace is also interesting. They aren't defending her. They aren't issuing denials. They are letting her sink. And Jessica Mulroney might just be the one to toss her the anchor instead of the life vest. The betrayal narrative that Meghan loves to spin, how her father betrayed her, how Kate betrayed her, is about to flip. This time the betrayal is coming from inside the house, from the person who built the house with her. It is a perfect storm. You have the professional failure of the lifestyle brand, proving she has no business acumen. You have the social pariah status in Hollywood. And now you have the two ghosts of the past, Jessica Mulroney and the yacht girl rumors, merging into one giant threat. It is almost Shakespearean. The woman who climbed to the top by stepping on everyone else is now finding that the ladder is being pulled out from under her. We have to ask ourselves, if Jessica takes the deal, what is the one thing Meghan is most afraid of her revealing? Is it the way she treated Charlotte? Is it the fake pregnancies rumors? Or is it simply the cold, hard truth that Meghan Markle was never the naive humanitarian actress she claimed to be, but a calculated operator who used the yachting scene to network her way into a title? The photo suggests the latter. The book deal suggests the latter, and the public is ready for the confirmation. As we watch this unfold over the next few weeks, keep your eyes on the British press. They are legally constrained in ways the internet is not, but if Jessica signs that contract, the floodgates will open. The injunctions won't hold. The super injunctions won't matter. The truth has a way of coming out, especially when there is $1 million on the table. So, what do you think? Is the woman in the photo Meghan? Will Jessica Mulroney take the money and burn the bridge for good? Or will Meghan find a way to silence her, just like she has tried to silence everyone else? It feels like we are in the final act of this drama, and the ending is not going to be the fairy tale Meghan wrote for herself. It's going to be a reality check.